All right, I titled this, Which Ex-49er Will the Niners Miss the Most? What do you think? Who's the Niner that, that we're going to be sitting there going, oh, man, where's that guy? Miss that guy. Is it going to be Jimmy? Is it going to be Emmanuel Mosley? Is it going to be Jimmy Ward? Who else? Raheem Mostert's moved on. That was a while ago. Jeff Wilson's no longer a Niner. They lost Azeez Al-Shaair, who's a real big hitter, kind of a tone setter. What do you think? Who's the, is there one player that you think of and say, man, Arden Key has moved on? That was more of over a year ago. But what do you think? Who are they going to miss that they lost this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's Jimmy Ward. I love Jimmy Ward. 9-year, vet. He played on this team longer than anybody. Now you got Arik Armstead as the longest tenured guy. I mean, you may be able to replace his play because Gibson came in and he filled in admirably last year, and I think that's what they went with. They went with Gibson, a little cheaper, and they can sign him for a year. They got Jair Brown. They put an emphasis on safety, taking Jair Brown with their first pick in the draft. So that tells you they know that Jimmy Ward's going to be missed on the field. But just in terms of leadership, man, the guy was a glue guy. He was a lot of intangibles. He was one of those veterans that really helped pace this team. The younger guys, Diamondre Lenore, these guys looked up to him. Fred Warner looked up to him. This guy has been through a lot with his team. He was on some bad teams, some really good teams. A part of that championship run that fell short a couple times. So Jimmy's a good dude, and personally, I've talked to him many times, and just a really good guy. I'm gonna miss him myself. I know the team's gonna miss him. He was great, man. He was versatile. They could play him all over the field in the secondary, safety. He played nickel corner last year, and he figured it out quick, and he was nice. So we talked about this, me and you, a couple times, that nickel spot's going to be a really big, competition. So I think it's going to be Jimmy Ward just for many reasons. There's a multitude. Like I said, great veteran, man. The guy was a heck of a guy. I wish him luck in Houston, and now he can be their veteran leader. And I get it, money. You got to pay for that check. It's not guaranteed. You want to maximize your time in the NFL. So respect him. I respect all the players. But, to me, the answer there is Jimmy Ward.
It's interesting. I when you started talking about it, I started to agree with you. But now the more I think about it, the more I think I'm going in a different direction. Now, I love, they lost some good players. They lost Jimmy Garoppolo, but they got Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen, and a deeper, better quarterback room. So I'm not really that concerned about that one. They lost Mike McGlinchey, but personally, I wouldn't have paid him the money. I think it's a smart decision not to pay him that money, and I'm fine with Colton McKivitz. You're going to miss Jimmy Ward. There's no question. But, after watching Isaiah Oliver, I think we're going to, you're going to miss Jimmy Ward's leadership. You're going to miss Jimmy Ward's toughness, his ridiculous hitting, his tone-setting hitting. I can make a real strong argument, though, that Isaiah Oliver is a better cover guy. I think you're going to miss Robbie Gould quite a bit. Jake Moody's got a huge leg. Raj, he kicked a 63-yard field goal the other day in front of our eyes. It was incredible. But, Robbie Gould was very consistent. I think they're going to miss Emmanuel Mosley quite a bit. But they do have Darrell Luter, and they do have this kid, Deshaun Jameson, and Samuel Womack. So you got three young deep corners that are there. I'll say this. I think it's going to be the combination. I'll give it a tie. I'm going Samson Ebukam and Charles Omenihu. Those are the two guys that I think they're going to miss the most. Why? Because they both had great motors, great speed. I mean, Omenihu had incredible speed as a defensive tackle when they played him inside. So he gave their NASCAR package a real electricity. Ebukam is just a crazy underrated edge rusher who's just plays 1,000,000 miles an hour. And, I don't see Cleveland Farrell, Kerry Hyder, Austin Bryant, Robert Beal, or, only Drake Jackson can even get to that level. And even Drake, I don't know, is going to be as good as Ebukam and Omenihu up front. So I'm going to say they're going to miss Ebukam and Omenihu. And I'm worried about that, actually. Personally, I think those two losses are the losses that bother me the most, because I think that's where this team is weakest. If Drake Jackson has a monster year, maybe they won't miss those guys. But if Drake just has a pretty good year, even if Bosa stays healthy, I mean, there's a lot of passing downs in the NFL. Farrell, Hyder, Bryant, Beal, Barrett, Daryl Johnson. These guys are not in the category of Ebukam or Menahue. So I think there's a noticeable step down there, and that one concerns me a lot. So I'll say the DNs. What do you think?
Yeah, as we've been talking over the last couple of weeks, me and you both have kind of been on the whole train of they got to get another veteran pass rusher. The last week or so, I've been thinking about it, and I've seen a lot of Javon Hargrave stuff over the last couple of weeks, and honestly, I don't think they're going to miss it as much as we think, because I think Hargrave is going to be that much of an upgrade that, okay, you can lose an Amenyehu and an Ebukam because you just added such a phenomenal guy in the middle. Again, it's not that edge, the guy off the edge, but I think Hargrave's going to add such an element that Armstead's going to be able to kind of go in and out now and do his thing. And then you got Bosa just going to be freed up. I really do think Drake Jackson is going to take a big step. And Ebukam and Amenyehu, I really like them, but Clelin Ferrell, I think he could come in and make a name for himself with the Niners, because that's what Amenyehu and Ebukam, before they were on the Niners, they were just guys. They were just guys, right? And now they got paid because of Chris Kasurik. That to me is the golden, ticket to getting paid. And then Arden Key, we talked about him earlier. That guy got paid because of Kasurik. I think this guy could really fix any deficiencies these edge rushers have. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure. I think Ebukam and Amenyehu were really good for us, but in the playoffs, they kind of disappeared. And I think with the addition of Hargrave, I think it's going to help everybody. If those guys can get 5-6 sacks, then you just replaced Ebukam and Amenyehu. So I don't know, man. I do think we still need an edge rusher. Like, I would have loved to get Leonard Floyd, who got a bargain out in Buffalo. They got him for a bargain. So I still am holding out hope that they go and get Yannick Ngakoue here in a couple weeks. But I don't know. I the more that I think about it, I really think that Hargrave is going to make a massive improvement, that we may not be missing those two guys as much. I don't know, because before they got to the Niners, Larry, they were just a couple of guys.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Hargrave is just so unique looking. I mean, he's just the biggest legs that you're ever going to see. I mean, he's just the thickest lower body. And hopefully he's got that great speed and shows it that he showed in Philly and in Pittsburgh in a 49er uniform, because, man, he could be a difference maker. But you know what? This kind of segues into a video that I made the other day, which is I'm looking at that. I think you're right. Buffalo got a bargain on Leonard Floyd. They got him for a base salary of $1.1 million, all of which is guaranteed. And then he's owed a signing bonus of $5.8 million. I mean, there were a lot of people speculating $8, $9, $10 million for one of these edge rushers. Then Denver signed Frank Clark. He got a 1-year deal, $5.5 million guaranteed, $1 million in incentives. He had another $1 million after that in other incentives. So he's got a couple $1 million in incentives that can take the deal to $7.5 million, but only $5.5 million is guaranteed. I mean, the Niners have $9 million of cap room before they redo the Bosa deal, and they'll create more with the Bosa deal. I agree. To me, if it's, Yannick Ngakoue, I mean, got Ngakoue's had, tons of production, 110 career games. He's got 135 quarterback hits, 65 career sacks. He had 9.5 last year, 16 hits on the quarterback, 10 the year before that, 23 more hits on the quarterback. Ngakoue says he wants to play for a contender. He's hungry to win a Super Bowl. He also has 21 career forced fumbles. So to me, yeah, if you can get Ngakoue, I would definitely do it. And it's just money. Or you know what? I mean, you have next year, you got your 1 and your 2 and your 3, and you have you've got 3 or 4 compensatory picks coming your way. Albert Breer reported the Commanders are open to talking trade for Montez Sweat and Chase Young. I'm knocking on Martin Mayhew's door saying, Martin, remember us? We're buddies. Give us Montez Sweat and we'll give you, a 3rd round pick, or, Montez Sweat for a 3rd and a conditional pick or something like that. Or, hey, you want Sam Darnold at the end of preseason if he doesn't make it here? We'll give you Sam Darnold in a 5th, But you add Montez Sweat or Chase Young to what the Niners have, or Ngakoue. Those, to me, I'm looking at those 3 guys in particular. If you could add that kind of a piece, I think that's the final piece to the puzzle for the 49ers, and I think it's essential that they get it.
Yeah, I agree. If what it takes is to hype up Sam Darnold, please let's just keep gassing him up because I would love to go get Montez Sweat or Chase Young from the Commanders. I doubt that would happen, but man, you're right. You just get one more edge rusher off there onto this team, and I think it's lights out again because you have the addition of Hargrave. You got Drake who's supposed to take this leap, and Kishore, he can make any one of these guys, a 4 to 5 sack guy. So you add a guy like Ngakoue, man, you get another 7, 8 sacks off the edge. It's going to be hard to beat this team. In that 2019 season, that was it. Whenever we played these traditional drop back quarterbacks, they could not stand in the pocket for 3 seconds and then get the ball out. And it was like, oh, they just saw the rush coming. So obviously, we still have some issues with mobile quarterbacks. We've gotten a little better, but I think as long as we can get that edge rusher off the side to help Bosa, you'll have people coming off of each side. You got Bosa, whoever is coming off the right side or the side Bosa's not on, and then up the gut now. So that to me is the key, man. And I hope they can, get something done in the next couple of weeks because there's still a few veterans out there. And again, like you said, a lot of steals, Clark and some of those Leonard Floyd. So if those guys can be taken off the market for a 1 year, $3 to $5 million deal, I know the Niners can afford it, but I just think they really want to see what they have with these younger guys. They don't make any rash decisions. They really like to develop their players, and I respect them for that. But sometimes I just feel like you just got to go all in. Like last year when they made that CMC move, it was like, okay, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
A little bit aggressiveness, So maybe if they can be a little bit more aggressive in the next couple of weeks and go get another edge rusher, I'd be more confident. I still feel very confident with this team, but you get something like that, it's just going to put you over the top, man. Why not?
Absolutely. This is your go time. Bay Area Baller in the chat says, what are we waiting for? Offer Ngakoue or Clowney $6 or $7 million. I agree with Baller on that one. Then he goes on to say, I think this team in Kocherik could get the best out of Jadeveon Clowney. And I agree. Clowney would be nice. I mean, this sets up nicely for the 49ers. Gregus says, highly unlikely you get Ngakoue for anything less than $10 million. I disagree. I think that's what he might be worth, but we're not talking about worth at this point. This is June. You're talking about cap availability, and if you want to be on a contender, you're talking about what's the cap availability and desire to add a player from just the teams that are Super Bowl contenders. And in reality, who are the Super Bowl contenders? If you said to me, who can win the Super Bowl? Kansas City can, Philly can, the Niners can. After that, everybody else is a gigantic question mark. I mean, New York Giants, yeah, maybe. Dallas, yeah, maybe. People want to say teams like San Diego or the Chargers, I should say, maybe. Buffalo, maybe. I mean, it's those 3 teams. To me, it's the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Niners. If you want to throw Buffalo in there, fine. But there's not a lot of Super Bowl contenders. So you want to be, a guy like Ngakoue, how many teams out there that are actually legitimate Super Bowl contenders have odds of less than 10 to 1, let's say, to win the Super Bowl, also have $10 million of available cap room on the 12th of June? Not that many. Not that many, I guarantee you. I haven't done the exercise, but I guarantee you if I went and took the the cap deal and looked at it, I bet you would find that the teams that are Super Bowl contenders, for the most part, are out of money. And it just really depends how many Super Bowl contenders do you think are legit. I personally think I've named you the 3 that I believe in. There might be 3 more out there that other teams believe in. So you're only talking of other people believe in. I would say there's no more than 5 or 6 Super Bowl contenders legitimately. And how many of those teams have $10 million? So I think it's closer to 5. I think the money that you're going to be throwing out is closer to $5 million than 10.